Well, I was hoping we'd be back on spraying today. I went and got enough chemical to finish up corn, because since we got rain, my uncle seems to be coming up, or seems to be sprouting. Nothing's out of the ground yet, obviously, because it's only been a couple days, but wrong key. But hopefully by Friday, Saturday time frame, you'll start being able to see rows. But really need to get it sprayed, but it's too windy, like way too windy, like 25 plus mile an hour gusts windy, and chemical is way too expensive to be wasting doing that. So but tomorrow, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday look excellent for spraying. Mild or mid 70s and calm to no wind, so hopefully we should, other than I'm probably at least going to get switched over to beans by Saturday, because I should be able to finish up my uncle's tomorrow afternoon, finish up the muck, finish the muck Saturday morning, switch to beans. Actually, it'd probably be Saturday mid-morning, because you gotta wait for the dew to burn off if there's a dew, but Saturday mid-morning, hopefully finish up the muck. Huh. Well, that's neat. That was a brand new tube. Why is it flat? Is the other one flat? No, the other one's not flat. Where's the valve stem? Oh, it's still there. Well, I guess before I move it, because I don't want to pull that tube out, cheap Chinese. Can I roll it over? So I wonder if there's... Put air in it and see if it's leaking. But, what was I saying? Switch to beans Saturday afternoon. Spray what I didn't roll, because I'll still be able to see my drill marks. And then gonna have to wait to spray the stuff I did roll until hopefully the beans come up and I can see my drill passes, because otherwise I'm just out without my tire marks from the drill. I'm just out there willy-nilly driving, and I don't want to waste any spray. So until I can have a way to see my passes, so I'm making my right loops, because spraying's a little bit more finicky than spreading fertilizer. But anyway, I didn't even tell you what I'm after. We're gonna go brush hog at my house behind the barn, because that's getting really tall, and it's something that I've been needing to do, so I'm gonna do it today. Got to get the mower unhooked from the 77 and get the brush hog put on it, but I got to get air in that tire first, because I don't want to suck the tube inside the tire. Hopefully, I don't know why it leaked down. Well, I guess I don't got to worry about pulling the valve stem into it, because you put air in it, it goes right back flat again. So Lord knows what happened. That would figure. That's my second tire. I had that, took all them old ratty nasty ones off the 4150, put 8 brand new tires and tubes in it. Didn't even make it halfway through the season and one of the brand new tubes took a shit, which that one I obviously must have ran something in the tire and poked a hole in it. And then this thing took both those 1961 tires and put 2 newer, in better shape tires and 2 brand new tubes, and one of the tubes is junk already. Like, what the heck? Tell you what. So, I guess I don't got to worry about pulling it out. Thing is, I don't want to hurt that tire. I'll just go straight in and straight out, straight back in. I want to unhook that in there, but we'll put it behind the brush hog. Although hopefully we'll be mowing hay again before we need the brush hog again. Oh, speaking of rain, ended up getting an inch. Over, well, it started raining about 4 o'clock when I was putting the planter away, and I think it finally stopped around 11:30 midnight, somewhere in there. This mower, it does not pick well at all. Need to get the 112 out of here and get it over to my house too. And I need to look for some parts for it, because I want to get it ready for Shelly to take the Ran tool. Which reminds me too, I need to call the guy that we normally camp with and see if the camp spots for this year are secured. Otherwise, I gotta look for a different place to stay. Okay, let me get that sickle mower on the hook. Okay, I gotta go grease the PTO shaft real quick, because that's the only thing on this mower that gets greased. And then we'll go get this job done. Tell you what, it's kind of chilly out for the middle of June. I think it's only like 65, 66, which, I mean, in the fall it'd be warm, but when we just had like 2.5, 3 weeks of between 90 and 100, this is cold. Okay, let's see how much stuff I can run over. I had to go put my sweatshirt on, so it's kind of chilly. better. Makes the place look a lot bigger when this is all mowed. Normally I don't like to let it get that bad, but this year it got that bad. You'd think with the lack of rain it wouldn't have got that tall, but apparently this was the only stuff around here that decided to grow. But mowing back here is about like playing Minesweeper. If anybody remembers that old game back on Windows 98 or whatever the heck it was. Because of all these stumps. There's 3 here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's a couple small ones. And then this mound right here was a burn pile that I buried. And then there's one up there around the corner, but that one's easy to miss. And then this in here is all no man's land. That's so rutted up and full of crap that I don't even bother mowing that yet. We'll get it there eventually, but one of the reasons I wanted to get this mowed is our stump grinder's finally fixed, so get done spraying and get into that lull in between spraying and getting ready for wheat. And I want to get that stump grinder over here and take care of all these stumps around here so that, and level some of this off. That way you can just come out here and mow and not have to dodge a bunch of stuff, because that's a little nerve-wracking. I remember where most of them are, but it's been so long since I haven't mowed it since obviously last year, so you go through there, it's like, I think there's a stump here, but I can't remember. But she's real quick to let you know when you hit one. Oh, and then there's where those thistles are still standing, there's a couple stumps up in there too that need ground off. And then I need to finish taking out that clump of trees there. That big guy's staying because I like it and it's big enough. I think it's earned its right to stay, but all that small crap there is gonna go. And then get all this leveled off so that I can maintain it, and then this will go, and that'll be step 2. Get all that out of here so that I can get it leveled off and maintain it, and then we start working that way. And all these woods will eventually be gone. I'd like to next winter around Christmas, if I can swing it, take a couple weeks off and see if I can rent. Oh, I can't remember what I was looking at. I went to the cat rental place and I was looking at the biggest excavator you could get that still had a backfill blade on it. And I think it was like I want to say it was a 315 or a 316 maybe, cat. Because most of that stuff back in there is tall, but it's spindly. It's all second, third growth, just nasty junk. Because this was all, back in the day, none of this woods was here. This was pasture, and then that field back there was the field. So this is all grown up since they quit maintaining it. And hopefully, I would walk you back in there, but I don't think I can get to it because I think it's too grown up. There are 2 great big monster ass oaks back here. I mean big. I'll bet they are 4.5 to 5 feet at the bottom of the trunk, and the trunk probably stays that big at least 30-40 feet up. I don't know if you can see the tops of them, but they're twins. One grows and kind of leans south, and one grows and kind of leans north. And they're about 10 feet apart from each other. And I was gonna leave those too. I don't know if you can see them. Yeah, you can see them. Standing back here doesn't do them justice. You gotta walk up to them. But those 2 guys right there, if it wasn't so good, you can get back there to them in the winter, but you can't get to them right now. But those two trees are probably the only ones that are staying out of everything back here. And I'd probably, depending on how it works out, because I want to pasture at least down here in this wet spot, and dig a small pond to try to take care of the wet spot and see, because my property actually, where's the, because I technically don't own all of these. My stake is, can't see it, I got a red T-post on it somewhere, but my property line is actually like right here somewhere, and then I don't own like this little corner, but I'm gonna take the trees out anyway, that way I don't gotta, because I don't technically own this right here, but I keep it maintained because I don't like looking at it. And then my property line kind of shoots back like that ish somewhere, so all this is mine, and then this actually turns into like a swamp. Like this is swamp right here. Normally this has got about 8 to 12 inches of water in it, but it's so dry right now that it absolutely doesn't. So like I say, I want to dig a pond somewhere just off of this power line right away, and hopefully take care of this wet hole so that it's not always wet. Pasture right here directly behind the barn, and probably at the bottom of the bank there. If I could haul in a little bit more, or if I could haul in some more fill dirt and bring that grade out where I leveled all this, or where I've hauled all that dirt from around the back of the barn, if I could haul some more dirt in there and bring that out another 20-30 feet before it drops off, and then build a loafing shed right there for the cows. Actually, because of, you probably actually want it facing west, so I'd probably actually want it facing this way so that it's open towards the road to keep the weather off of them. But anyway, however it ends up working out, so pasture all this, make the back a hay field, and probably end up running fence. Those two big oaks would probably end up being right about the split line between pasture and hayfield is kind of the plan. But the plan looks good until you get all the trees knocked off to see exactly how the land lays, because you can look at it all you want when it's covered in trees. It looks completely different when it's bare. Because when I got here, if you were standing here, you couldn't see any of that. There was a tree line. Well, there was a tree line there with more trees. Some of the stumps are already gone. And then there was this area here was broke up into little, I don't even know what the purpose of them was, because they were just about big enough for a horse to go in and turn around, but there was like 5 or 6 little paddocks right here. And then there was one big paddock that went up to the back of the horse stable, and most of this got cleared back after I had this logged. But before, you could only get to right about here, and then all this was grown up. You couldn't get up this hill, all that was grown up. I didn't get this cleared off until the loggers came through, and then I cleared this hole out. And then you couldn't see, you couldn't get to the road from here. I cleared all that out. Well, I cleared most of it out. It was already a power line right away, which the AEP troubleshooters love me now, because this was always, because the trees were growing so close to the power lines, this was always a trouble area for them between that post and those two down there at the road. There was always shit falling and knocking the limbs down, and they always had to wade through that swamp. And since I moved in and got all this cleaned up, they haven't had one single issue back here, go figure. But because I knew 2 of them, one of them was a trouble, well, I still know both of them, but they both quit AEP and went to work for independent contractors. But one of them was a troubleshooter and one of them was a lineman, and they said it would be nothing for them to be back here 3, 4, 5 times a year fixing this line. And they had to walk back to it because they couldn't get trucks in because of all the fence and trees and crap. So we're making progress. It's just ever so slow because it's a lot of work. But if I can get an excavator rented for a couple weeks, surely I could get all this knocked down in a week or so if I had an excavator that big, and start working my way that way. because oh, you can kind of see one of them oak trunks right there. Basically everything from those oak trees back is all, it's actually fairly thin back in there. It's mostly undergrowth that makes it look thick, and then the actual trees on that side of those oaks actually get more tree-like. So this side of it's not going to be hard to clean. It's half of it's dead anyhow. So get the back half cleaned off and then work your way towards the road. But I think if I figured it out, $3 would get me that excavator for 2 weeks, or was it $3 to get it for a week? I think it was $3 got it for 2 weeks, and I don't know if there was an hour limit, but we'll see how it all plays out, because my project list is ever changing, but that's one I'd like to get done. But if I can at least get these stumps knocked out of here this summer, and then bring the box blade over and fix some of these ruts, and then it'd be nice if I can get this smooth enough to the point where I can bring we got a brush hog for the cub, and at least be able to maintain this hillside. And right here on the implements, I don't gotta, that cub ain't got enough ass to mow the stuff that comes up back there, especially that swamp grass. But if I could at least maintain this low area and that little hill right there, and actually if I can get that hill cleaned up enough, I would just mow that like yard with the lawnmower. But anyway, that's enough of me talking. I'm gonna blow this thing off and run her home and call her a night. So hopefully tomorrow we're back to spraying. I'm doing the best I can with get you videos right now. My projects are all screwed up because 75% of the projects I had planned around here for this summer counted on having the Mini, and the Mini's down right now with that blown hose. And as far as field work goes, we're pretty much down to spraying. Although here in the next couple weeks, do need to think about getting a 7300 out of the barn and getting it over and going over it, because another 3.5, 4 weeks we're going to be thinking about cutting weed, as hard as it is to believe. So anyhow, that's it for this one. We'll catch you guys on the next one.